Ladies and gentlemen, at the time of recording, it's not even 2:15 p.m. in the afternoon, here in the Central Time Zone, I should specify. And we have had NASCAR countersuing against 2311 Front Row Motorsports and Curtis Polk. Can't forget Curtis Polk. Austin Cindric receives a $50,000 penalty for intentionally wrecking Ty Dillon. And now we have Chase Briscoe's appeal decision. So in case you missed it, after the Daytona 500, the number 19 car was one of 2 or 3 cars to be taken back to NASCAR's Research and Development Center, where they do a full teardown of the car. They inspect every single centimeter, millimeter of that car, whether it's aerodynamic, whether it's engine, or whether it is the actual next-gen parts, the third source independent parts, whatever they are officially called. Well, NASCAR found something that they did not like on Chase Briscoe's car, and it had to do with the rear spoiler. As a result, Chase Briscoe was handed a massive penalty, 100 points taken out from his bank, and there was a massive fine to Joe Gibbs Racing. I think it was about $100,000. And James Small, the crew chief, was suspended for 4 races. As a result, Joe Gibbs Racing ultimately decided to appeal the penalty, which you are allowed to do, of course. So James Small's suspension was pushed back. It was delayed. I guess I don't know what the official terminology is. So he was still at the next 2 races at Atlanta and Circuit of the Americas. But the appeal was heard this week, so if the suspension stands, he will be out for Phoenix, Vegas, Homestead, Martinsville. Well, that decision has come in. Chase Briscoe, for the first time since Monday of Daytona 500 week, is back in the positive points because I can't believe it. Joe Gibbs Racing won the appeal. We have seen this penalty system in place since 2022 in the next-gen era. The only time I can think of an appeal won is when Hendrick Motorsports, they had their appeal for the hood louvers, and they got their points back, but they were still fined. So in terms of points, it was a really big deal for them to get their points back. So they basically won, but they still had a monetary fine. This, Joe Gibbs Racing, they completely won. The National Motorsports Appeals Panel on Wednesday overturned the L2 level penalty levied against the Joe Gibbs Racing number 19 team stemming from the season opening race at Daytona International Speedway. Chase Briscoe piloted the number 19 JGR Toyota to a 4th place finish in the 2025 Daytona 500 while claiming the Busch Light Pole Award for the race as well. However, further inspection at the NASCAR Research and Development Center in Concord, North Carolina, initially found the number 19 in violation of Section 14.1 of the rulebook, which pertains to overall assembled vehicle rules, and 14.5.8, which deals with the spoiler. Specifically, the spoiler base was found to be modified on the number 19 car. The spoiler base is a single source part and cannot be modified. In overturning the ruling, the 3-member panel determined the panel believes that the elongation of some of the holes on the number 19 Cup car spoiler base is caused by the process of attaching that specific spoiler base to the rear deck and not modification of the single source part. Briscoe was initially docked 100 driver points and 10 playoff points. JGR was fined $100,000 and deducted 100 owner points as well as 10 playoff points. Crew Chief James Small was suspended for 4 races. All of that is rescinded following the appeal. So yeah, Chase Briscoe, as I said, since Monday of the Daytona 500 was in the negative points. I think he had negative 68, maybe? I have it screenshotted. But he had negative 68 points heading into Atlanta. Still had negative points heading out of Atlanta, had negative points heading into Coda, had negative points heading out of Coda. He still had negative 28 points heading into Phoenix this weekend. So a bad week at Phoenix, he could have been heading into Vegas still with negative points. However, rest in peace, negative points in 2025, barring the biggest penalty in NASCAR history, or a penalty to a guy with like 20 points right now. You were short-lived. You could have lived longer, but you did not. Yes, Chase Briscoe. he has his points back. He is now tied for 14th in the points with 72 points. Him and Carson Hocevar share that position. If the playoffs were to start today, he would be in the playoffs. But Chase Briscoe, this is a massive deal. And I feel like we're going back to the original penalty video and just basically saying the opposite of everything I said there. A points penalty of 100 points, that's more than a race. 61 points is the maximum number of points you can get in a race. And even with the other 39 points, that's like a top 5 day usually. If you score 39 points in a race, that's a top 5 finish and maybe a few stage points. So to lose that amount of points is a huge, huge, huge deal, because if you finish in the top 10 in the points in the regular season, you get bonus playoff points heading into the playoffs. And Chase Briscoe in a Joe Gibbs Racing car is very capable of that. So that could have very much impacted, obviously, finishing in the top 10, but also making the playoffs directly. And then on top of that, let's say Chase Briscoe wins at Phoenix this week, but he doesn't win anything else the rest of the year. No stages, no races, and he finishes 20th in points because of the points penalty. Well, as a result, Briscoe would basically start with -5 playoff points heading into the playoffs. Well, now, as a result, he gets his playoff points back. So if that situation plays out, he has 5 points now instead of -5. It's a 10-point swing. That's what the 10-point penalty was. And then on top of that, the crew chief suspension. You got to remember, year number 1 for Chase Briscoe at Joe Gibbs Racing. It's his first year in the Toyota. It's his first year with James Small as a crew chief. He is learning everything as he goes, whether it's the car, whether it's the team, whether it's James Small directly. And being in race 4 of the season and not having your crew chief, it's a massive deal. It can hurt. That driver-crew chief combo is a very important thing. And being in race 4 and suddenly not having your crew chief, or you're just starting to get to learn and all that, going to a backup crew chief, getting to learn him for 4 weeks, and then going back to the original, I just feel like that could shuffle up a team a little bit, just kind of throw them off their course, maybe. So this had so many different implications. The direct points penalty, the playoff implications, the playoff point implications, the direct chemistry with the team and trying to learn each other because it's their first year together. But now it's all out the window. It's back to normal. No stress, no thinking about it. James Small, you'll be there the rest of the season, unless there's another penalty. Chase Briscoe, you got your same crew chief. You got your points back. You're officially fighting for a playoff spot on points, or obviously a win gets you in. But if the previous result held, it would have been very difficult to get into the playoffs on points because you had such a large deficit. Not impossible, but difficult. Chase Briscoe himself put out a post on Twitter, and he said, "Biggest points day of my career. We're back. In all seriousness, thank you to NASCAR for giving us the option to show our evidence, and huge thank you to everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing who put in countless hours to put everything together." So yes, Chase Briscoe is back in the plus. He is no longer in the negative points. He is technically in the playoffs right now. He gets to keep his crew chief. He gets to keep his playoff points. This is a massive win for Joe Gibbs Racing. It's a massive win for Chase Briscoe. And it's massive for NASCAR as well. As I said, we have not seen a lot of penalties overturned in this next-gen era with the L1, L2, L3 penalty system. So for this to be overturned is a very big deal. It's pretty unique. But as I said, busy news day in NASCAR today. This morning we had the news of NASCAR countersuing. Then we had the Cindric penalty, and now we got the Chase Briscoe unpenalty, I guess, if we're going like that. Anyways, I can't wait to see what the rest of the day holds. On the East Coast, there's still an hour and a half left of the business day. I cannot wait to see what else there is. What's it going to be? Is it going to be, I don't even know. I'm looking forward to it though. Thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. We got Phoenix this upcoming weekend. Should be something, I guess. We got option tires or soft tire. I don't even know. Prime tires. I forget what they're called, but we got a second tire this weekend. So that'll be interesting. But as I said, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys this weekend for Phoenix, and any other news that comes up today or any day, I will let you know.